And I just said, if God knew he's calling me into Christian ministry, that is a male-dominated space, I wish I was a man. Then I would do great things for God.
Yes, but
now, no. In the beginning, I was not preaching at church because we didn't have, the policy at that point did not allow women to preach in church. So all the preaching and engagements we were doing at high schools. Because when the high school invites Nairobi Chapel, they didn't say it's a lady or a man.
Yes.
I remember during one of the retreats, Pastor Oscar sent us to, he asked us to take A4 paper and write a letter to God. Tell God, what is it that you want God to give you that will make you the most amazing leader and that will do great things for him? Write that down. I went for 3, I thought, I came back with one sentence. I wish I was a man.
What?
That almost broke everybody. But remember, I was in a space that was like a square in a round hole, trying to fit it.
Yes.
There were no women pastors. And now here I am. And now, my number one, change my desire. Now I am pumped up for ministry. I forgot the law. I forgot. I'm like, for sure, after my 1 year of internship, I knew this is it. But now, here I am. I can't preach in church. There are so many things women were restricted from doing. What am I doing here?
Like dress code?
No, dress code was never an issue at chapel.
At chapel?
Yeah.
But what couldn't you do?
Especially the central things like preaching, yes, and all. So here, Pastor Muredi has come a year behind me. He's already preaching in church.
Wow.
Pastor Muredi being a guy, and we have always, even till today, very careful. You will not see like me in a car with another guy just. We always make sure there's a third person. However innocent it is. So in the beginning, Pastor Oscar would be having all this lunchtime. Muredi, let's go for lunch. They go hang out, they talk. He's beginning to have international travel. So he gets 2 tickets. Who is he going with? Muredi. Then now, ma'am.
Oh.
So when I came back and I wrote that, he asked me, what does this mean? And I just said, if God knew he's calling me into Christian ministry, that is a male-dominated space, I wish I was a man. Then I would do great things for God. That's when Chapel began the study on women in ministry, to begin to find out what is our position, what is our policy going to be. And me and several women were involved in that with the elders. We read many books, and eventually Chapel came up with a position, women can preach. But at that point, we could not be elders.
Yeah. Pastor Janet, just let me pause you a bit. You know, there's a lot that we take for norm.
Yes.
There's a lot that we found. You know, the way you come and find a building in existence, and you don't know the toil and the labor that has been done by the people who came before you. For example, from a country perspective, we dharau the Mau Mau because we have freedoms. I walked into church and there were already women. By the time I gave my life to Christ and joined the church. You are following God's calling on your life, and you are already seeing the sexism or the what's it called, the lack of equality within the institution, and yours was night and day. What had and by the time you are advocating for it, and you're not even advocating for you're just saying.
I was just saying. I mean, was God confused when he called me? Because and it was never an issue of competition.
Yes.
If there's something I'm so grateful about, is start having my years of ministry in Nairobi Chapel. I will never come before God and say, God, if it wasn't those men, I would have done. No. Chapel allowed me and has allowed women to stand, to lead and find expression. Even when I sat in, not as an elder, but as a pastoral trainee, just sitting in elders' meetings, I knew in any place I'm called, I'm not called to balance gender. That has never been a chapel thing. When you get a position, it's not because, we need another woman, let's bring in Janet or something. No. I always knew, and Pastor Oscar always had this thing, if you're on this table, you better speak. Otherwise, you're just feeling a
You earned a seat on the table.
Yes, just speak. And I've never, in all of my Nairobi Chapel days, apart from that beginning part when I said that, after that when...
were there other churches that had women preaching?
I don't really remember. And I've tried to ask Pastor Oscar that. But a lot now of things, these were mid-90s when things were changing, even in the music
Even there's a Beijing, remember 1992?
Yeah.
I'm just throwing that as a rhyme.
There's a lot of things that were beginning to change then. And I knew women who were in ministry but not as pastors. There were, of course, a lot of pastors' wives always played the role of, they're the heads of women's ministries, they're the heads of children's ministries, but they were not pastors. They were just Mama Kanisa, the wife of the pastor. Naturally, this is your role, even though they may have another career outside. So this began to change some things. In the mid-90s, there was a lot of change in churches here in Kenya. Even musicians.
The electric guitar.
Yes. Instruments and things, all that coming up. Concerts and things. Women now, ministers, those are shifting. That was happening in the mid-90s. So by the time I finished my internship, I knew God was calling me into this. Pastor Mredi and I were sent for a 3-month mission to Swaziland. There was an organization in Kenya that used to bring students from the US for a 4-month mission trip to Swaziland. And they had done this for 1-2 years, and then they thought, but we've never had an African join this group to actually tell us, is it contextually sound, or are we imposing American things on a local African setting? So they came to chapel and asked Pastor Oscar, do you have some young people who could be part of this group? And then we really want them to speak, tell us, what are we doing right, what are we not doing well? So both of us, Mredi was just finishing his internship, me, I was in my pastoral traineeship. So we asked, can we go? I'd never been out of the country of, that far, apart from
Uganda.
East Africa. So of course, my parents, hey, our daughter is flying out. So it was a tick to what I was doing. Remember this time I've not told
them that
what is happening really, that now, number 1 is checked, and I know this is my calling. Number 2, the scholarship is not working, and number 3, God confirmed through another couple that I know are solid. My parents have not given me the blessing. I've not even disclosed everything. Them, they just know I'm keeping busy in a clean way in church for a short time. Then I'll get a job. So when Swaziland came, my dad said, oh, that's excellent. It will give you so a first trip. So we go to Swaziland and we do this, and I told God, the last month I told God, now, me, I know, and I'm loving what you've called me to do. And I can't lie to my dad. I need my parents' blessings. And even if I still need to tell them. So this is snail mail days, and I'm praying, I'm scared. I'm scared of what my dad will say when I come back. But I know, even if he says no, me, I'm still moving on. And this time, Chap was asked, can you stay on for another 2 years? So
and now you're an employee.
Coming back, I'll come as an employee, at church. And my dad didn't want church stories. So the last week or 2 weeks before I came to Kenya, I'm just telling God, Sasa, if it goes south, it goes south. But you just help me. I get a letter from my brother, and he says, hey, you would not believe what happened. Some guys came to our house and shared about Jesus to Dad, and Dad surrendered his life to Jesus.
Wow.
And things are different here. I knew Jehovah. 2 weeks I landed, I went straight to Nakuru. I told my dad and mom, now, you people, this is what has been happening in the last 1 year. I didn't lie to you. This is what the internship was, it's true. But the bigger picture is God has called me to ministry. And I'm coming to tell you, I know it may be disappointing, all these dreams, everything, but me, this is it. And my dad told me, it took me all my life to make this decision. But you, since you made this decision to follow Christ in Form 6, you've never ashamed me, never disappointed me. So if God is calling you to do this, you have my blessings. If you need our help, you have my blessings. So me, by the time I came back to do past, I knew here. So I tell people in my time at chapel, I told God, I'm going to serve you like somebody looking in a microscope.